Welcome to the Hill Country Nation Sports Wrap-Up Show on a Wednesday evening. Better take my glasses off. Everybody think I'm blind because I really am kind of sort of up. MIA missing Trey Collis. I have no idea. I haven't heard from the guy all day. Hope he's all right. I know he was having some, family time going on, but ain't like Trey to call and not talk to me, but it don't matter, man. We can still have a show because, as they always say, the show must go on. Ain't that right? That's right. All right, so we ain't going to waste any time. We're just going to bring this guy on, man. I tell you what, new to the program, but not new to when it comes to winning games. This man right here, Grant Gaston, has been a coach for quite some time, and now for the Boerne Geneva Eagles. He knows how to talk to his players. He knows how to get stuff done. Let's welcome to the show Coach Gaston of the Boerne Geneva Eagles. Coach, welcome to the show.
JR, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Excited to be here.
Absolutely. Coach, I texted you earlier because I was trying to think. I was looking back and everything. I was like, okay, well, how long have you been? This is your first year at Boerne Geneva.
Yeah, this is it. I got hired in May, got down here in June. We started working for 7-on-7. TAPS has their state tournament that last weekend in June typically, and we wanted to compete. We talk ABC, always be competing. That's one of our mantras, and so we hit the ground running with that, and we took every guy that we could that was available. A lot of them had baseball and other things going on, and we took a crew down there, and we started competing as early as possible.
What is the one thing that you have learned about your team from the very first day you met with them, practice, all the two-a-day stuff up until this point?
Well, we don't quit, and that's not just me saying that. That we hear that from other schools as well, and we hear it from outside people who are watching us play. We're 3-3 right now, but even in those games that we've lost, we've been scrappy. We fought to the end. We have two mantras. The first one you already heard, ABC, always be competing. And our second one is fight, finish, and love. And so our guys, they fight and they finish, and we certainly do it in love. And they don't quit, and I love them for it. So they're great kids.
I seen like on your schedule. There's no slouching down. I know you had nothing to do with this year's schedule.
Right.
And next year, the UIL, the public schools, they're coming out with their whole new system where they change everything up, which that gives you the opportunity as a new coach to reach out to other people too, because they're going to be looking for games as well. But you're looking at teams like Milano, and you look at teams like La Pryor, but then you have the big gun too, like Blanco. You competed with some of those, with those guys overall, and especially with that one against Shiner, the Shiner St. John Paul, and a heartbreaker, 49-43. But that is something that you're with that schedule. What does that have with what happens in district play?
Well, I think it gets us better. It was a little scary when you saw Blanco on the schedule. And, they beat us, but we learned so much about our team during that. Our team learned about themselves, that we could go out there and compete. It's a big step up for us, but we put 35 points on the board. We had two other deep drives that, we didn't convert into touchdowns, but I think our guys learned, hey, we can compete, we can score with the best of them. And I think so that's been a launching pad for us. So I'm glad we played them.
A lot of what some of the schools are talking about getting away from some of the private schools, but then some of them are wanting to embrace, like maybe an Ingram and Boerne Geneva. We're just throwing some names out there, or maybe like a Bandera Boerne Geneva, things like that. We can help without it, trying to get those guys. But are you looking for what schools are you looking for the upcoming season for the next schedule?
Yeah, I think what's going to be important for us, we are equivalent in size to a 2A, somewhere between a Division II and Division I UIL school. So that's kind of our sweet spot as far as who we're looking to play, just because it's like on like, as far as, hey, we've got 35 to 40 kids. They've got 35 to 40 kids. We have the same limitations, and it makes it a more fair fight, if you will. So, I don't mind stepping up, like we said, against Blanco. They got a lot more kids than us, and you look across the sideline and you say, man, I wish we had that many kids, but we don't mind taking those on, but I don't know that we want to play 7 of those before district starts.
Coach Gaston, Trey Collis.
Trey, what's up, man?
Coach Gaston.
Listen,
there we go. Excuses coming.
I get off of work. I had to go pick my daughter from church from Awanas. Had to take her to soccer practice. Soccer practice at Chick-fil-A had no sauce, so I had to I'm like, I'm running around. Then I get home. I thought the show was at 7:30, and all of a sudden, Jared's like, "Where you at?" I'm like, "Crap." So yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we start early around here.
Yeah. You're blaming Chick-fil-A sauce on not showing up on time?
No Chick-fil-A ice. So I had to go to Mini Mart to go get soda.
It's probably cheaper there anyway.
It actually is, but I'm like, crap. I'm like, oh no. So I'm sorry for the audience. I really am. I'm usually more punctual than this. But
yes, you are for sure.
Coach, big game this week. I don't know what JR's asked you, so I'm just going to ask you any question I want to.
But you do that anyway, Trey. So,
dude, man, Thursday night, cold front coming in. I know we've been playing the hot days of summer since freaking October. Just talk about how your kids are conditioned from seems like the summer is never going to end to now it's going to be like a fall like weather. And just talk about how the conditioning has been from 2 days to where you are right now.
Yeah, well, we play fast. That's our mantra. That's how we play. And so we practice fast when things got started at the end of July, moving into August. Our kids, they embraced it. They embraced how difficult it was. We told them, hey, we're going to run. We're going to run because we want to run in the games. We like to be fast. And so it was important for us to be conditioned. So the hot weather hasn't bothered us that much. In fact, it's going to be kind of fun to play when it's 75 degrees or less. We haven't had too many opportunities, even in practices, to do that. We'll have our morning run throughs on Thursdays, which are pretty cool and comfortable, but not game speed, obviously. So I think it's going to be great for us. I think we'll keep our legs, keep our wind. I think that'll be a benefit for us.
Big game of the week coming up on tomorrow night.
Tomorrow, I know it's already here. It sneaks up on you.
Eagles. And we're so pumped and ready for this. Our very first ever Boerne Geneva football game. Mr. Rosenstiel. Am I saying it right? Rosenstiel?
Rosenstiel, yes.
Rosenstiel.
We call him, if you talk about the quarterback, we call him Rosie for short.
For Rosie, okay. So
yeah.
You got Rosie, but then he's got his favorite receiver, Fitzgerald. I mean, we're talking aerosol right now. I mean, what has it been like to have that as a first-year coach, but having that combination? Because looking at stats, it's crazy.
Yeah, so KP Fitzgerald, when I was interviewing at different places and doing research on the different opportunities, I saw him and I knew, he's the OW. He's the offensive weapon. He can run, he can catch, he can throw. So we use him as a weapon. He's got 800 plus yards receiving. I think he's around 10 touchdowns or somewhere in that range. And Rosie's at 1,400 yards passing, 18 touchdowns. So Aristote's correct. We like throwing the ball, and it's a blessing to have guys like that are seniors and they're extra leaders and coaches on the field in a lot of ways. And I think they're excited to be a part of this offense, and they've embraced it from day one.
Coach, what is the most since 2 days to now? I mean, you already have 5 games or 6 games under your belt. What's one thing you've seen that's most impressed you with your offense or defense, the position wise? What's one of the main things that we're struggling with, but then all of a sudden, we don't have to worry about that anymore?
Well, as a coach, we can't ever get to that point where we say we don't have to worry about it anymore. But I tell you, our first game against it was our second game of the year, but it was against Dilly, and they got on us pretty good, and our offensive line had to grow up, and they had to grow up fast. And just seeing their growth from week 2 to now, it's awesome. And we go and watch film, and at the beginning of the year, we have a bunch of MAs for missed assignments, and those MAs are getting fewer and fewer and fewer. And now we can get to the point where, hey, you're doing a good job. Now here's how we can correct it and get even better. And so they provide a lot of protection for Rosie so he can throw those dimes. So that's been the biggest improvement and change. It's great to see. I love offensive linemen. They're the most important position on the field. They never get the love, but we can't do what we do without them, and we love them. So I want to make sure they hear that.
So are we talking that, Rosie's not taking them out to Dairy Queen or Chick-fil-A or anything like that? I mean,
I'm sure he's taking care of them, right? Yeah, it's like the old Dan Marino commercials. Maybe they'll get their gloves at Christmas time.
There you go. Coach, what is one of the positions or in the areas that you are really looking, I mean, district's it's coming up. I mean, but What is the one things that you've been working on that you hope to improve for this first district game?
Well, I think tackling overall, but we're seeing that improvement. One thing that's, and Brentwood's in the same position we are. We are both very, very young teams. We are starting 7 sophomores on our team. Only have a few starters as juniors, and then we have there's seniors that are playing very good, but there's not a big number of them. So that kind of plays into our growth because those guys were sophomores, but as I told them before last week, you're not sophomores anymore. You've played 5 games. You're juniors now. And they're playing like juniors now, but there's growing pains when you're young. And Brentwood has the same thing. We're very similar in that regard, that they have a lot of sophomores on their team and not as many upperclassmen. So that it's going to be a good, equal battle tomorrow night.
Speaking of tomorrow night, why is it a Thursday game instead of a Friday game?
I've been asked this question a couple of times, and I don't know the answer for sure, but I'm going to tell you what I think. What I've been told, the hearsay is this. I believe that when we traveled to Brentwood last year, it was also on a Thursday, and I believe it's because Brentwood goes into fall break this weekend. So they get the game done on Thursday, and they get their fall break, and that makes it easier for everybody. So that's my best understanding. I could be wrong, but it makes sense to me, so we'll roll with it.
I just thought home field.
Time out.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, because you got part of the thing.
Home field advantage.
Yes.
That's what Brentwood wants. It's you. Your home field advantage.
I didn't hear you, Trey. JR was laughing over you there. What did you say?
Home field advantage, coach. Why do we have to accommodate what Brentwood wants? It's home field. You can do what you want to do.
Well, I think we're happy to accommodate. It's the old mantra. We'll play anyone, anywhere, anytime. And so Thursday night it is. It's senior night for us, so we're excited about that. Get to honor our seniors in all of our sports and extracurriculars. So it's going to be a really good atmosphere. And I'll play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. I want to play on Saturday, though. That's college football day, so we'll leave that one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you got to leave that out.
Hey, if any Brentwood fans listening, I'm sorry. I just had to give them a hard time. I just didn't hey, it's home field advantage. Who cares what you want? But, hey, it's not – I'm just happy it's a Thursday night because I finally get to spend time with my family on Friday night.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, or you go catch another game somewhere else. I know a lot of our coaches will go watch some other games tomorrow night or Friday night.
Yeah, I know. Coach, we joke about that because the Hennis over there, man, those guys are notorious for Saturday, but they're always trying, they'll play whoever, whenever on the road, but when it comes to their home, yeah, you better make sure it's ready for a Saturday game. So
gotcha. That's good to know, yeah. Since we're looking at scheduling stuff next year, yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
Coach, being the first year, you're starting to get to learn the players, and you're up to this point, halfway through the season, you've already learned them and stuff. But what about your coaches? I mean, give shout outs to them and everything, call them out. But what has it been meant to you for those guys to step in, not only as a brother, but at the same time taking that load off of you so you can focus on the things you need to focus on?
Yeah, man, we have a great staff. Everyone gets along really well. Everybody jumps in. I don't have to manage the staff. The staff manages themselves. So when you were asking about Rosensteel earlier, and I said, are you talking about the quarterback? The reason I asked that is his dad, Bob Rosensteel, is our wide receivers coach. So he's on our staff. Great. He played a little bit in the NFL, played with the Raiders. We've got our defensive coordinator, Dave Bryant. I call him the Terminator because he's like a machine. He does everything for us. So, I mean, just if it has to be done, it gets done. And you don't have to ask him to do it. In fact, I have to ask him, hey, slow down. Like, hey, you're doing too much. Like, let somebody else do stuff. Coach Morris is our defensive line coach. He played on the University of Texas national championship team. I won't tell you what year, but it was a long time ago, and because he may not want you to know how long ago that was, but he's been great and love to have him. Our offensive line coach is Kevin Davis. He has the most starts on the offensive line from anyone at UTSA. So it came straight from UTSA last year, coming to join our staff this year. Of course, I have some connections to Coach Traylor because I'm from East Texas. He coached at Gilmer, as you know, for many, many years, and so know about him and his program. And so they were gracious to help us locate a coach, and Kevin Davis has jumped in. And I want to finally, Tamaj Gordon is a track star locally, and he's jumped in and helped our secondary. So, it's a smaller staff. There's just 6 of us, but man, we get along really well, and there's no management issues at all. They're perfect.
I'm going to just say 2008. Is that right, Trey? Texas winning over
No. This is like 69. This is a long time ago.
Oh, that go way back in the day.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, he may not want you to know that. He's telling his age.
You weren't born yet.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So, Coach, I want to know, since you come from a Jeff Trailer from UTSA, like you know him very well and everything. Has there been ever like UTSA, like Frank Harris or any of the players that's come talk to y'all throughout the week or anything like that?
No, not yet. I think that can be hard to get during the season for them. It's probably something where in the off season we can maybe get those guys to come in, but not yet. That'd be great though. I mean, and Coach Davis is working on getting some stuff like that, but it's all in timing.
Yeah, I know. I just know Coach Trailer has done a good job with like recruiting in the high school ranks and everything. I just know he's a great guy. I covered him a couple of years ago when they won the first Conference USA championship. And
yeah,
he just won a heck of a guy. A guy I would love to play for whenever I was playing college ball. That I wish I could play for him. But I just another secondary question: were you there when Juju Scott was there?
No, so Juju Scott was the coach that preceded me. He took a job over at Texas Lutheran, and so that's what opened this job up. When he took that role, that coaching opportunity in the college ranks, then this opened up, and man, I was excited the more I learned about Geneva, just doing the research, because I was interviewing throughout the country. Really, had a lot of opportunities in different places, different job offers, but the Lord kept calling me to this one. I knew this place was special. I actually held out for this one, turned some other jobs down because I knew this is where I wanted to be. And just kind of prayerfully kept waiting on that. And the Lord just said, hey, keep waiting. And then this one opened up, and this is where the Lord wants me to be. And I'm excited to be here.
Amen. You couldn't ask for a better place, especially in the Hill Country and Boerne. I know Bernie supports, Champion Greyhounds, Boerne Geneva. They support their teams. And it's just, it's great to see through it, not only football, but basketball, baseball, UIL, stuff like that. It's just a great community. They really do support their team. So I think you had a great coaching position as you have right now.
Yeah, I'm thrilled.
Coach got a fan question.
All right, you want me to read it, or do you read that, JR? How do we do this?
So what made you want to be a coach, Coach Gaston?
Oh man, well, there's probably a whole lot longer story. I'll just try to kind of keep it short. So, I'll just say coaching for me is the ministry. And so when I tell people what I do, I say, hey, I'm in full-time ministry through coaching. And so the reason I want to coach and the reason I'm coaching now really is it's to build men of character, godly men of character who are going to transform the world in the name of Jesus Christ going forward. And, point blank, Geneva told me one of the reasons they hired me was my plan for discipleship. We have a lot of discipleship that we do with our players here. We have something called the BAM manual, BAM, be a man of God. We work through that year long. We go through the Proverbs together. We read the scripture together. We pray together. Anytime we can use a teaching event, we'll try to connect it to something in scripture. So the reason I want to coach is to encourage and to grow kids in Christ. Hopefully we win some games along the way, but more importantly that, what are the men that they turn out to be?
Follow-up question on that is then what is your this year's 2023 scripture verse for the year?
So, really we spent the most time in the book of Nehemiah, it's the Old Testament book, and Nehemiah 4:14, and this, we have our mantra, it's fight, finish, love. Well, the fight comes from Nehemiah 4:14, where Nehemiah, they're going back to Jerusalem, they're rebuilding the wall, they're having a bunch of people saying, you can't do it, you're not good enough, this will never work, they're making fun of you, they're even threatening to kill them, and he stands up before the community, he says, hey, let's fight for our neighbors, let's fight for your spouses, let's fight for our children, let's fight for our country, fight for our God. So we spend a lot of time in Nehemiah, and specifically, if I could spit that out, specifically Nehemiah 4:14 is where we're spending a lot of time at for that. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just going for my tongue. My Chick-fil-A here.
Yeah.
I have to eat. I haven't ate all day. One question I want to ask you, I don't want to get anyone in trouble with the public schools or anything like that, but did you feel like a calling towards a private school because you can open up about your faith and pray during half times and stuff like that, instead of where like it is with a public school where you really can't do that, you have to do it in silence? Is that one thing that drew you into Boerne Geneva?
It was funny when I first started looking for head coaching positions. I actually was looking completely only for UIL jobs because I thought there's a lot of ministry you can do. Obviously, in the UIL and public schools, there are limitations, as you guys know. But as I got my resume out there and I started getting some feedback, it was all the private schools that really kind of gave me the callbacks and gave me more opportunities to interview. And so through the interviewing process, it became pretty clear that the Lord wanted me in a private school setting. And then I would have always been open to either one, but I have a very comfortable fit in a private school. I came from Grace Community up in Tyler. Coached the TK Gorman up in Tyler before that. So, that my background really is in TAPS. So I'm very comfortable here. and glad to be able to openly share my faith and share it with our players.
Amen.
I got to do it because if I don't do it, then I'm going to get in trouble. If I get in trouble, then it's all Trey's fault because he didn't have
Always is.
sauce. So it don't matter either way, one way or the other. We got to do it. So hey, this episode of the Hill Country Nation Sports Wrap Up Show is brought to you by First Insurance Agency of the Hill Country. Hey, Mark Justice, he's a buddy of mine, but I tell you what, it wasn't all like that for a while because when it came down to insurance and I was looking for some car and vehicle insurance, I said, Mark, dude, what can you find me? He said, well, plug it in. So everything that I had going on right there with all my car insurance, he found me something even better and saved me $325 a month. That is no joke. $325 a month. He saved Hill Country Nation. You can also try to save money by going to firstinsAgency.com. That's firstinsAgency.com. It says Kerrville Comfort, but it don't matter where you live. They too can save you some money or at least attempt to. And if they can't, they'll tell you straight up, stay with the guys you are because we searched and looked, and that's how it is. They did save us $325 a month on insurance. All right, Coach, it's kind of one of our fun segments and stuff, part of this game. So it's tomorrow. It's Thursday. Game day. Getting excited. Everybody's all in the stands and they're ready to go for the pep rally and everything else. But your tummy's starting to grumble, and getting a little bit of hungry. So with that, do you have like a game day meal or a sandwich or maybe some kind of a drink, not those kind of drinks, but some kind of a drink that you might have to, like your go-to on Friday? What's your go-to food or drink on game day?
Well, it depends. If it's breakfast time, I'm got the munchies, and it's going to be Mary's Tacos here in Boerne. And it doesn't have to be breakfast. I mean, I'll eat there anytime. I love Mary's Tacos. But on game day, I'm more of a chicken strips kind of guy. So I actually really like on Bill Miller's Barbecue. They got a franchise location real close to our school, and their chicken strips are awesome. So that would be my number one game day meal here in Boerne.
Man, I ate Bill Miller's after coming back from Austin Saturday night watching the UT game. I was like, oh my God, 2 barbecue sandwiches for $8. You can't beat
right?
I'm like, man, you can't beat that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. So yeah, I like to eat.
I do too. Well, I was going to ask this for the fun segment, but I just wanted to know. I don't know if Coach or JR asked this or not. I'll get to the funny stuff here in a minute, but I just want to know, like, before like, what do you want to see in this game before your bye week? Like, what do you want to see from your team before you entering bye? Like, have you seen enough that you're ready for district, or you want to see more before you open up your district playing here in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, well, I want to see us level up, and that's something we've been talking to our players about each week. And most weeks we've leveled up. We've stepped up to the next level of competition. We did that against Blanco, as JR and I were talking about earlier. I mean, they're a higher classification than us. We had to step up to even be able to be a little bit in the game. But I think because we stepped up, they realized, hey, we can do this. And then we had to step up the next week and keep stepping up. And so we need to level up again. So we keep going up that staircase to get to where we want to be, and we need to take the next step. So, that's a complete game from everybody. And I know all coaches say that or something like that, but Brentwood's a very good team. They're 5-1, and we're going to have to level up to be able to compete with them. Coach Maxfield's doing a great job over there. It's his first year at Brentwood. He comes from a UIL background, so he coached a long time. Very good coach, and he'll have his guys ready to go. So it'll be a challenge, but we like challenges. So we're looking for that.
Yeah, I talked with Coach Maxfield earlier this week, and he's super excited about being the game of the week. And, of course, having the opportunity with Boerne Geneva is always something, that he's heard about, but now you get to experience it.
That's right.
So being with that experience, it's been 4 years since the Boerne Geneva Eagles have won the state championship. I know a lot of talk can go around, especially with a lot of the Boerne schools in the area that, making some runs and stuff like that. But what is the mindset this year? Because, like I said, we talked earlier, we played some tough competition, but just getting back to that championship caliber.
Well, that's always the mindset. And I think it should be not just for us, it should be for every program. All of us should be striving to be the very best in the state. And whether we get there or not, that'll be up to us or maybe up to our opponents. But, we're striving to get there. Brentwood's striving to get there. the guys in our district, Holy Cross, are striving to get there. Cypress Christian, everyone's striving for the same thing. And I think we all should be. I don't think we should shy away from that. I don't think any school in TAPS or UIL should shy away from it. Every coach is wanting to build a championship program, and we're no different. We want to build a championship program. We just want to make sure we're doing it with discipleship and doing it in a way that honors Christ. As long as we're doing that, we'll go as far as we can.
Coach, I love bringing you on the show because I can ask you these questions I can't ask any other coach because of I just want I'm going to modify this question like I've asked the other coaches, but I'm going to modify it a little bit more. Being a Christian man that you are today, and like my dad, when he was growing up, he got saved when he was 17-year-old. He was supposed to play basketball on Sunday night, but some decided for him to go to church, and 4 old ladies grabbed him from the back of the pew, and he accepted Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior on Sunday night when he's supposed to be playing basketball. So my question is, like, what, like, has religion always been in your life, or have you, like, or did something draw you near to where you need, where you accepted Jesus Christ? Or I'm trying to get where I'm saying is, like, what made you come be a follower of Christ?
Yeah. So, I was very fortunate, and it's a long story, and I'd be glad to come back and go through all that stuff. Probably don't have enough time for it tonight, but hey, so my parents divorced when I was 6, and there's some cool stories. We'll go along with that at some point. But I was raised by my grandmother, grew up in the church. But it was really when I was 13 years old when I really surrendered and gave my life to Christ. And then, like a lot of teenagers, it was I wasn't mature, as you can imagine. And so, from 13 to 48, where I'm at now, it's a 35-year maturing process. It'll continue to be a maturing process. This is my first head coaching job, and I liken it a lot to Moses. Moses spent 40 years in the desert before he took the Israelites out and spent 40 more years in the desert. So there's that 40-year period where God was working on Moses and his character so he could lead the Israelites. I think God's been working much in my life. The last 20 years has been working in me to build the character that I need to be so that I can lead the players and disciple them the way he wants me to do that. So somehow, I'm not sure if I fully answered the question, but I gave my life to Jesus when I was 13, and it's been a growing process since then.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was always like hears the stories like that because I was 9. I mean, my dad's a pastor, so I'm like, I was 9. I was a rebellious kid, but I just like hearing stories of how people became who they are today and stuff like that.
Well, and I've got a neat testimony that one of the things I will do with our players is I will share it, but I usually wait till after the season or the very end of the season so they can hear my testimony. And it's good for them to know me better before. So I'm not just, some guy they've only known for 3 weeks. Here's my testimony. They know me. They've seen me. They see how I talk, how we act, how we react to things. And so I think they'll be more open to hearing it at that time. So hopefully it's about 2 months from now.
There you go. Coach, we had the pleasure of talking with Coach Tim Shipman of the Fredericksburg Heritage Eagles. He talked about, like, when people come to his place over in Fredericksburg Heritage that, they're going to play to win, they're going to play to hit and everything. They're going to smack them in the mouth, but they're going to pick them up, say, Lord bless you and things like that. And they're going to make the fans feel welcome as well because they're trying to build something of God's kingdom right there. Talk about how that leads, with what you're talking about with being led to Boerne Geneva, but yet at the same time, is that something that you're kind of looking at, to kind of help build on as well? So when UIL public schools and people like that come in, that they can just, know, hey, that wasn't so bad. There wasn't a lot of smack talking going on. If anything, they were encouraging us.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to think that this might be the case, but we've told our players, hey, we might be the only believers that some of the other fans or players or coaches ever really get to experience. If they don't step foot in church, if they're not compelled to go to church, then what do we do? Do we reflect Christ in what we do? And I tell our guys, look, we're on the field, we're battling and we're competing, but we ought to be able afterwards, we ought to be able to go out and eat pizza together. Mm-hmm. And if we can't go out and eat pizza together afterwards, in theory, because I know everybody has to go home, but in theory, if we can't have that kind of relationship, then we're doing it wrong on our end. So yeah, we want to win every rep, every play, every game. But then at the end of the day, we're fighting for something more than that.
Okay, we got a fan question, Coach.
Sorry. I want to answer. I want to ask it and answer. You go ahead, JR. Sorry. Did you want me to read it and answer it?
What is a great place to eat in
Boerne, baby?
Yeah, well, for me, it's like I said earlier, it's Mary's Tacos. It hits the spot, whether you want it for breakfast or a late breakfast or an early lunch or a late lunch. That's my go-to spot. I know there's other good places here, but during the day it's a little harder to catch all of them. And so Dodging Duck's pretty good. We've had that a few times in the evening. You want more of a sit-down meal, but I'm a taco guy through and through. So Mary's Tacos it is.
I'm so happy they started in Kerrville, Texas.
Man, Mary's Tacos is like my daughter wakes up at 6 o'clock on Saturday, and one day I get to sleep in. Daddy, what's for breakfast? I want tacos. We have to drive all the way across town to get Mary's Tacos. And I'm like, after I eat, I'm like, thank you, Jesus, for having Mary's here.
I know, yeah.
Coach, my favorite memory verse, and I don't know if you have a team memory verse. JR probably asked this earlier, but I just want to know, like, my favorite Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's my favorite memory verse. It just feels like you can go with everyday life. What is y'all's team memory verse, or what's your favorite memory verse?
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, ours is coming from Nehemiah 4:14, talking about fighting for your countrymen, fighting for your spouses, your sons, your daughters. For me, if you live long enough, you have different life verses. My life verse when in my 20s is different than now. But for me now, it comes from Acts 20:24, where Paul says, my only purpose is to finish the race and complete the task that the Lord's given me to testify to the good news of Jesus Christ. So that's me. I'm working to finish the race. I talk about, when I came from Tyler, taught a Sunday school class up there, and we just talked a lot about finishing strong. And so I want to finish strong. I want to be fighting to the end. And, I want it to be one of those things where I'm coaching here at Boerne for 40 years and they got to kind of pull me off to the side and say, Coach, that's enough. You've done enough. But I want to fight to the bitter end, and biblically speaking, I love the verse in Joshua. Can't remember which chapter it is, but in Joshua where Caleb is saying, okay, here I am today. I'm 85 years old. I'm as strong today as the day that Moses sent me out. And my hands are still ready for battle. And I want that to be me. At 85 years old, I want to have that same mentality that Caleb had.
But at the same time, in Bible, 85 is like you're age 20 now. Like, come on, Adam and Eve and everyone lived till 900 years old. I mean,
hey, we had Coach Coley on Monday. He's 71 still coaching.
That's exactly right.
Come on.
Yeah. They're going to have to drag me off the sideline for sure.
There you go. Coach, Kerrville connection. That's kind of what Boerne Geneva has kind of been, with the last few years. They had Juju Scott. You had Coach Dwayne Croker over there for a little bit, from the Ingram side, which, Kerrville. And then you got Coach Rippey as well with on the baseball side. I know not being the athletic director there and everything, but you do get to connect with those guys. Not knowing if you know much about Coach Rippey, but his son was an amazing quarterback at Kerrville Tivy for many years and stuff, and coached those guys as well. Do you look back not only on the coaches that you have now, but maybe some of those coaches that are coaching other sports that had that experience in the football, especially from the Kerrville side?
So I'm not sure if I follow what the question is. Like, well, Coach Rippey's like his desk is right there, right next to me, so we see each other every day. He's a great baseball coach. As you know, they were in the state finals last year, or maybe the semifinals. Took his team really far. Boerne, it's a big baseball town. And we bounce ideas off of each other. He watches film and he gives me some ideas and he asks questions about what we're doing. And so he's been a big influence for us. I've only met Coach Scott one time. He stopped by to see some of the senior class this spring. We do something a little bit different here at Geneva. Our seniors have a thesis that they have to present. And they've studied it, they work on it, they write it, and then they have to memorize it and present it to a group. And so he came back and was watching some of his senior football players. And so I met him briefly for that. Coach Croker, I've heard so many great things about him. I think he's managing a buck. He's over in Alabama somewhere. And so, I'd love to have all those guys here because I think they're all great coaches from everything I've heard about them. Beyond that, I don't have much in the way of Kerrville connections other than, I'm an Aggie. So, of course, we love Johnny Manziel. I lost Trey on that one. But I lived in Austin for 7 years, Trey, so it's okay.
Hey, I'm just glad we're renewing the rivalry come next year. That's all I'm happy for.
Yeah.
No, I'm a great Johnny Manziel guy, and people don't realize. They talk about a redemption story that Johnny Manziel has. I just want to share this. People don't realize, he had a hard time through high school and college. He got everything handed to him. But then everything's got taken away. And sometimes you got to hit rock bottom to realize, oh, crap, what I have. And so what I interviewed him a couple of times last year, and what he's interviewed with me and the growth that he's had at age 29 to 30, it's just remarkable. And I wish people would understand that, like, hey, we all go through ups and downs. It's how you handle those ups and downs. And I think Johnny Manziel is doing a great job because he signed every autograph. That stadium was filled up all the way around. He took every autograph, every picture, every interview, anything he wanted. And I think if Netflix can do a documentary on his redemption story, I think it'll be great to see. But that's one thing I love about people. I love the redemption story, and so I think Johnny Manziel is on his way, and I do support Johnny in that. That's
I do have some old videos when he was in high school of interviews, so just saying we could.
Oh yeah. We'll get together over Mary's Tacos. You can show me some old film.
We should, yeah. He loves that.
I mean, after Thursday night, we had nothing to do on Friday. There's no game, so I mean, might as well, right?
Right.
I still might turn to you. I don't care what you say.
I know.
Coach, who has been the biggest influential person in your life to make you who you are today? Like, is it a coach? Was it your dad? What? Like, who is the biggest influential person that's made you the man you are today?
Well, it's my grandmother. You know, she raised me from the time I was 6 years old, and she's very unique. She was 70. Let me do the math on this. She was 73, I believe, when she took me in. So she's living by herself. She was 73 years old. She lived to be 2 weeks shy of 102.
Dang.
And so she took me. You know, she was the one that she took me to church for one, obviously, but she took me to every baseball practice, every baseball game. You know, when I was in college, she drove down to College Station to come visit me a couple of times, and she would have been in her late 80s at the time. And she just was a godly woman, and she grew up in the Depression era, so taught me a lot about, hey, you know, I want this, I want that as a teenager, as a young man, and learning how to live frugally and be content with what we have. And there's good lessons to learn from that. So she was the most influential person in my life by a long shot.
Awesome. Yeah, I think my grandma was the same way. I hope my parents don't listen, but my grandma was the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's something about grandmas, man. Like grandmas, like they there's something about them. Like you can act up towards your parents, but your grandma or grandpa, no, you can't act in front of them.
No, she got me with the broom one time and I was acting up. I remember that. So.
I had a fly swatter taken to me. So.
Yes, yeah, you bet.
My grandma, but I tell you what, I never did it again. And
that's
I learned a lot of life lesson on that for sure. Coach, man, we really appreciate you being here. I mean, we got time for a few more questions and everything. And
why?
You know, well, we can keep going. That's okay, but I'm just saying,
I'll stay as long as you want. So you far away. If you got something, ask it.
He doesn't want to go with his wife or kids. You know, he just wants to talk.
Being football season right now, you know, and everything, and here we are. It's like 42 in the evening and stuff like that. You know, you're still at the field house, but how's your family? I mean, like just talk about the family life, because with football season, it's football. But you gotta have that supporting cast to keep going on.
Yeah, they're very supportive. They've always been supportive. You know, I've got 4 kids. I've got 2 that are in college. I've got a daughter who's a junior, and I've got a son who's an 8th grader. So, so they've seen me in football for quite some time, and I might not know my background because you haven't asked about it, but I come from a legal background. So if y'all want to fire some questions about that, we'll talk about that. But they see me coach for a long time. But let me tell you about somebody else that was sort of motivational in my life, and it was my first real boss when I was a baby lawyer. His name was Steve Spitzer. He had 4 boys. He was the managing shareholder at our firm, and he left every day at 3:30 to go be with his kids. He coached all their baseball teams. He coached all their sports. He was at everything. He was extremely efficient. And so I was very blessed to have a mentor like that, so that when I have my kids, because I'm about 9 years behind him with my kids, that I work to live, don't live to work. And so I've coached most of my kids' sports, at least the ones I know. I don't know basketball, so I was on the sideline a couple of times, but I didn't offer much. But I've always really endeavored to spend time with them and make that important. Even here at Boerne Geneva, we're different. We do not come together on the weekends as a staff. We do our own, and it's easier now with Huddle, of course. We do our stuff on the weekends, and we're efficient with it so that we can spend time. And Coach Rosen still probably want to hear this, but his daughter's got something coming up. I think when we play Holy Cross, and she's dancing. There's like a daddy-daughter dance thing at halftime. I said, Bob, you got to go to that. I said, just leave, go to that. And he's resistant not because he doesn't want to go. He obviously wants to go, but he, as you feel compelled to work. And Bob, no, you go do that. You'll regret that if you miss that.
Right.
and I'll misquote this, but Bruce Arians, longtime coach for the Buccaneers and Colts and Cardinals, he said something along the lines of, "Hey, if you miss a kid's recital, I'll fire you." And so
Yeah.
we kind of have a that's the mentality is, yeah, I mean, sir, somebody might outwork us, but again, it's what we're doing is more than just football coaches, and so to be more than football coaches, we have to be family men as well. And we have to spend that time with family. So you're right. We spend more hours in the fall, but we still make time or try to make time for everybody. So, yeah, efficiency. I also learned that from Steve Spitzer. He was very efficient, and that has helped.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, you had that Bruce Arians is a hard butt. I mean, he like he'll yell at you. He yelled at Tom Brady and everything. But you're right. He said if your kids are in something, you're going to go spend time with your family. He was very big on family and stuff. Like there was no Monday coaches meetings, no nothing, so they can spend time with that family because he knows how much of a grind it is, and it's a hard task for your family as well. So you want to make sure that it's evenly. Okay, I have 2 questions. You sound like a baseball guy. I just got done watching the Rangers, who, by the way, are moving on to face the Orioles. Congratulations, Rangers. Are you a fan of this new rule?
So I haven't got to watch much. So here's my baseball background. I played baseball through high school because that was my better sport. But my love was always football. So I always paid a lot more attention to football. So what little I've kept up with some of the new rules, I'm guessing you're asking about the rules that shortened the game and made them faster.
2 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah, I think in general, I'm a fan of that because baseball can drag on a little bit. So I can't say that I've sat down and watched the full 9 innings in a long time, but I like a faster paced game. But that's my mentality. I mean, our offense here is fast. I'll watch film and I'm like, snap the ball, snap the ball, snap the ball when we're watching other teams. So you'll see tomorrow night.
I'm anxious to see that. Okay, so I just want to get that away because I heard you talk about baseball. I thought you were a baseball guy, so that's what I'm going to ask.
Coach Rippey's the baseball guy. He's the man. I'm going to learn from him.
I know he is. I thought I can get the question in, but whatever. Coach, there's a couple rule changes I know in the college level, and usually UIL follows the college level. Like they changed the you don't stop the clock on the first down unless it's the last 2 minutes of each half, second and fourth quarter. Is there any rules that you wish the UIL will implement that would change, like the first down marker or the first stopping the clock on first down or illegal hands to the face, chop blocking? Is there one rule that just irritates you that they wish to just take out or they wish to implement more?
Yeah, I hate cut blocks. I just don't think I just hate them. It's too much of an opportunity for injury for players. We're doing a good job of getting the head out of the game, but what good does it do if somebody's has an ACL torn? And I get the strategy behind it, and I know that's old school. That's what you do, but I just don't like that. I just like cut blocking to be taken out entirely.
All right, before JR says the last question, because I'm going to steal this last question. I did the first part of the show, so I'm going to steal another question. Sorry, JR, I'm taking over your show. Well, I'm taking a
show.
You got this.
JR's going to talk all night tomorrow. If you listen on Mike FM tomorrow, you'll hear all about him. So whatever. No, there's another. What was I going to ask? Oh my God! Dang it, I forgot. Go ahead, JR. I forgot.
Coach, what do you love most about your team this year? This is a fan question.
Yeah, we talked about the fact that they never quit earlier, but the other thing that goes along with that, and it goes along with our mantra, is how they love each other, and you see them pick each other up, and 2 days in August and September it's hot, so it's not like they won't have days where they get a little tired of each other, like brothers get tired of each other. But at the end of the day, when you see them in the locker room, you see the way they talk to each other, you see the way they work together. There's a genuine love and affection for one another, and that just blesses my heart to see that, because that didn't come from me. That came from them. That's who they are.
Okay, so people who are new to private school right now and stuff, know we did 6 men and everything. Like, how does the classification work in TAPS league? Like, how does it is it the same as UIL, where it's like you have 5A, 6A, 3A private school? How does the playoff system work? Is only 2 teams, 3 teams make it in, 4 teams? Just talk a little bit about everything like
it's
that.
real similar to UIL. It's based on enrollment, just like UIL is. So we have divisions 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 being the largest schools, and so Geneva Boerne is we're Division 3, which I said is kind of equivalent to most 2A schools for UIL. For our particular enrollment would put us right in between Division 1 and Division 2 for 2A. So we've got 37 kids on our roster. We're looking to build that to hopefully the mid 40s within the next couple of years. But that's taking a pretty high percentage of our school population to be able to do that. So you have to have a lot of buy-in to the football program. So we're small, but otherwise it's pretty much it's the same. So this year at least, and it can change with every realignment, but this year we'll have the top 3 schools from each district will make it in, at least for us, for here in the South for Division 3. The district champions will get a bye, and then the 2 and 3 seeds will play each other in the first week. UIL, as you guys know very well, there's 6 rounds to the state championship there, and TAPS has 4 rounds, so it's a little shorter for us. We'll be done the first week of December.
Hey, that's still better than New Mexico. My dad brags that he's a 3-time defending state championship in New Mexico. I'm like, you only got to play 2 rounds. that's nothing compared to state of Texas.
Yeah, you're always at least a semifinalist. I'd like to have that on the resume.
Right.
Coach, what is one of the things? What is you got 37, on your roster, but there's something that happens either during the week or during a game and things like that just gets it's one of your pet peeves. What is one thing that gets under your skin that's like a pet peeve?
That's what I was going to ask.
Oh, Gaston, I knew it.
I got to think. You want me to limit it to one? Just one pet peeve?
Well, what's
you got several? That's
a pet peeve? What
is the one that just drives you nuts?
Like there's no excuse for
nothing.
I'll tell you, I don't know if this is my pet peeve, but it's something that's important to me, and the kids know this, the ones that are listening. Tuesday, we call it Tell the Truth Tuesday. Tuesday is grade check day. If you have a C in a class, you've got 60 yards of log rolls. If you have multiple C's, that just multiplies. If you have 3 C's, you got 180 yards of log rolls. If you have a D or an F, that doubles. So you'd have 120 yards of log rolls. It's not that it's a pet peeve of mine necessarily, but I think it's important. I think grades are important. I think if you get good grades, it gives you opportunities. And I got good enough grades that I had opportunities to go to law school and do some other things that if I had just not cared, those opportunities would not have been there. And so the pet peeve part of it would be like, hey, you shouldn't do this more than 1 week. Like, why are you here a second time? Mm-hmm. And if you're here 3 weeks in a row, we add burpees every 10 yards to that log roll. So they'll learn that I don't like that. I think they already know I don't like that, but I don't like it either. Tell the Truth Tuesday has become not fun for me because I don't like to end practice that way. But we're going to take care of grades. Our expectation is that everyone will give their best in the classroom as well as on the field, and so we're hard on that.
How many more questions we got? Because I can go all night.
We can go 4 more.
All right.
How about that?
It'll be like 3-part questions, though, JR. We have 4 more 3-part questions.
I got 15 or more, but because when you said that, it just added on to more questions.
Coach,
we'll 4 more.
Coach, I just want to know. I probably said this earlier. I was kind of late, like everyone said. I do apologize, but like you said, you're in a law firm. What made you come to coaching? Like you hear a lot of people getting out of coaching and teaching and stuff like that nowadays because it's not the same as when we were kids. Mm-hmm. Like the teacher was always right. Now the students are kind of like, oh, what does the teacher do instead of the students? What made you want to come get out of the law firm and then come to coaching?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I think you may have been there for that, Trey. Is I'm in full-time ministry. This is full-time ministry for me, and coaching is my ministry. You think, if I said I was going to be a youth pastor, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's ministry. And then you see kids, once a week on Wednesday nights and maybe a couple of summer trips. Well, I see my kids 5 days a week, and I see them all throughout the summer, and I see them before school, and I see them at lunches, and I see them after practice, and I got phone calls, and we get texts and opportunities to talk to them and disciple them. So it really is, it's full-time ministry, and there's no better vehicle in America than football because kids love football. It teaches you so many other life lessons. And so that's why I want to do it. The story goes from this. You may have heard a guy by the name of Joe Moglia. He was the CEO of TD Ameritrade and high up. And he decided after many years of being in the financial services industry that he had a passion and a desire for coaching. So he stepped down from that role He was at Nebraska for a year, but then he's over at Coastal Carolina and really kind of got that program going.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people looked at him and said, "What are you doing?" And kind of have that quizzical look in their face. Well, I faced the same things. I said, "Wait, you're leaving a career in law to come coach?" And I said, "Yeah." And it's a lot like Joe Moglia. The difference is he had a passion for coaching, and while I also have a passion for coaching, I have a passion for ministry and discipleship. So that's where I moved from a legal career into a full-time ministry and coaching career.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not only him; it's Trent Dilford as well, who's in big time. Who was coaching high, now he's coaching college, but he said he just loves coaching the kids and seeing them pursue in life and everything. It's just so gratified to him. I know exactly to Coastal, because people on ESPN are making fun of like Coastal Carolina because like, oh, you're getting this billionaire job to be a coach and not like you're take a pay cut. But the guy's like, I don't care. I'm leading these young men into who they should be today, and that's my biggest goal in life. So I admire people like you and him and stuff like that to reach out being successful to what you're really passionate, because money's not everything. It doesn't make you happy. It just what makes you bring joy in life. And I can see that in you right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Coach, you got a lot of players, with 37 on your team and everything, but at the same time, they're not only in football. I mean, they might be in the band, they might be in the one-act play and choir and things like that. But at the same time, from what I've understood and seen at Boerne Geneva, not only do the fans, the kids, and everything go and like jam pack the house when it comes to football, but you guys are also going to all the volleyball games and the baseball, softball, and things like that. Even just supporting the band. How important is it for you guys? I mean, not only because with the community, it's all kind of different with between 3 schools there. And a little bit more because there's some other private schools around there as well. But just to support those other things like FFA and band and volleyball and baseball, softball with your kids.
Yeah, I think it's important because we want to be well-rounded students, and so that's academics, that's athletics, that's extracurriculars. We got some players that you nailed it. We have some players that play football. They're also in the band. They're also helping with fine arts. They're also leading Bible studies with the we call them grammar school, with the elementary age kids.
Nice.
And they're doing all of that, and they're still getting good grades. And we got kids that are in choir. We got kids that are and we want them involved. We encourage them to be involved. One of the things I talked about when I interviewed here was that my expectation is that players will be multi-sport athletes. You're not just a football player. In the winter, I want you playing something, whether it's soccer or whether it's basketball. In the spring, either baseball, track. You should be playing other sports. You shouldn't be, for most of us, shouldn't be specializing. Now, for some people, that makes sense, but certainly from the football perspective, our guys need to be doing at least 2 sports throughout the year, and we strongly encourage that. And they'll be doing that this year. If they weren't already, most of them already were. If they're not, we'll get them into track.
But it's just jam packing the crowd. I mean, volleyball. I understand y'all got like packed house in volleyball.
Yep. Yeah. I think that, and that, again, the students support one another in everything they do. So and this isn't because of me, because they were doing this before I got here. But one of the things that we do, we split our team up into 5 battalions each year, and we have the players select their captains. The captains draft their teams. And I just want to shout out to Coach Russell at Grace Community School, because I got this from him. And so they earn points for different things. Some of it's competing. We have competition days at practice. They earn points for the battalions for doing that. But a lot of it is for acts of service. If they go out and do some sort of act of service, help somebody move, help clean up somewhere, they text me. They get points for their battalion for that. They get points if they go to a volleyball game. So I get on Tuesday nights, I get a bunch of texts. Hey, coaches, at the volleyball game, well, they get points for their battalion. And the battalions at the end of the year, whoever wins, we don't, not at the end of the year, because we split up into 4 segments. So, but each segment they win something. So the summer group, they won T-shirts. The team that won, they won T-shirts that had their names on them, and they won their first pick of equipment, which includes numbers. So they'll fight for that in the summertime because they want to have the number that they want to wear on their jersey. So we do some things like that I think also helps to encourage what was already there at Geneva, because Geneva is a special place. Those kids are already doing that, but that helps to reinforce it. Hey, football coach wants you doing that too.
Speaking of merch.
Oh my God.
Oh, Boerne Geneva back there. What's going on with that?
We'll get you some swag.
There you go.
Stop begging, dude. It's not petty.
It's asking.
All right, Coach. It's an hour before kickoff. you're in your office before you talk to the team, everything like that. What's in your ear pods, your headphones? Is it Toby Mac? Is it rap? Is it what are you listening to get motivated before the game?
Yeah. I don't have time to listen to anything for a game now. I do love Toby Mac, seen him in concert many times. I'm an old rock, heavy metal soul. It's funny as I've grown up, I still like the old stuff I grew up on, the GNR, Motley Crue, Metallica, stuff like that. But I listen to more of the Christian stuff. So you mentioned Toby Mac. I like Toby Mac, like Disciples, a heavy Christian band. I like stuff like that. Memphis Mayfire. I mean, I listen to heavier stuff than my players do, and it cracks me up. But it's interesting about this age group, and you let me know if y'all have seen this too. But my kids are aged 14 to 20. They're classic rock guys. That's what they like. Our locker room, they like classic rock. And so it's so neat about this generation is like they listen to the same stuff that I listen to, at least that I grew up listening to. And we have music playing at practice always. It's just, I don't know, a lot of schools do that, but we do that too. And they prefer the classic rock to the rap. I'll listen to some rap. I like Lecrae and some other stuff like that. But I'm a hard rock soul.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy because my daughters love the 80s rock. Like when I'm listening to Sleazebees, Firehouse, Winger, Poison, all the different AC/DC, the Van Halen. They love the Van Halen. But then they're listening to Toby Mac and, even some of the old stuff, PFR and Petra and, those kind of guys. But it's just crazy how it all works out, man. It's awesome.
But when I was playing, I graduated in 05. We listened to Bodies Hit the Floor. That was let the bodies hit the floor. That got me pumped up. I don't know why. But
because
then
you're hitting people. That's why.
It pumped me up. Like I don't know why. It just pumped me. But then you talk about GNR. Man, they put a good show on in San Antonio. That's what I hear. Like a 3.5 hour show for those old guys. I heard they rocked it down in Alamo Dome.
Well, I won't lie to you. We had a couple of meetings amongst the coaches of do we cut practice short Tuesday and go see Guns N' Roses. we ultimately did not do it, but it crossed our mind. I will tell you that.
I heard they put on a good show for those old guys. They said they came down. It was amazing.
All right, Coach. Again, thank you so much. This has been awesome. We want to get you back on for sure, for upcoming years and things like that. But so looking forward to meeting with you in person tomorrow night.
Yeah,
I know we'll probably be outside, but if it's raining, we're diving inside.
I think the rain will be gone by the time we get rolling tomorrow.
Okay, we're just going to do whatever it takes. We love being with the fans, but go ahead.
It will be 80 degrees. It won't be 105, 90. It's going to be 80 degrees at kickoff tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe even less. So hey, if you guys haven't been here before, so we do something neat. We have here at Geneva, we have 4 houses. It's a lot like Harry Potter, how they have the different houses in the Harry Potter books. And so we have 4 different houses that we split our school into, and they each have their own tailgate. So when you come down there, you got to hit every house and hit every tailgate down here because they've all got different kinds of foods and they're all very proud of it. So you'll have to, and I won't tell you what my house is because I don't want to influence you yet, but you tell me what the best food is since you guys are foodies. And then that way I may have to change house affiliations if someone's got it better than mine. But
well, what I'm thinking is you like tacos, so we're going to have to hit the taco house.
Well,
maybe.
We gotta get to that.
Tacos are my favorite, but I like all food.
Yeah. So what time's all that kick off?
3:00.
No, it's not quite that early. I think it's between 5:30 and 6. To be honest with you, I'm with my team always then. So what happens is they bring us food to the coach's office. We get it after the game, but it smells so good when we're out there, warming up and stuff. So you guys partake in that. Enjoy it.
So we're gonna have.
No, you don't know JR. You don't know JR. We got to be at the stadium at 5:00. Post there, and then get in there, and then we're sitting there waiting for an hour before kickoff.
No, we're gonna be.
JR tries to be nuts with that.
We're gonna be eating. We're gonna go to every one of those houses.
We're not. Well, I know you.
Watch.
I know. Oh, we gotta get to the stadium. We gotta see where we're parking. We gotta see where.
Well, it's right next to the way you'll see when you get here. The setup for where they have the tailgates it's adjacent to the field, right next to the stand, so you can be right there and still see everything, and so it'll be perfect for you.
We'll get set up. We'll go to the houses. We'll eat. We'll get 4 brown bag specials on Coach Gaston over at the concession stand, and boom, we're good.
There you go.
All right, Coach. Final question, and this is it right here. But man, we could talk to you all day. We appreciate you so much for being on our show. But coach throughout the years and everything, and now you're coaching over in Boerne Geneva, and so. But the one most important question that comes to mind, that it's kind of a tough one, but what makes Coach Grant Gaston Coach Grant Gaston?
I think, it's a love for our players. It's genuine, authentic. The Coach Grant Gaston from 25 years ago would have been about winning, and that's about it, and maybe winning for himself. And now it's not, and that's part of that maturing process that God needed to bring me through so that I could be the kind of leader He wants me to be now. That's why I wasn't ready to be a head coach before now, because it would have been more about me and not about the players. And so it's been nice to kind of look in the mirror and see that growth in me over the last 2 decades. But I mean, I love my players. I think if you ask them individually and anonymously, I think they'd tell you the same thing. They know that I love them. They know I care about them. They know that it's genuine, it's authentic, and man, we want to win. We're ABC. We're always competing, but we talk about love a lot too, and we want to do everything we do in love.
Coach, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you. Don't go anywhere yet, because we're going to have just like a real quick after show real quick here.
I'm here, JR. You just, I'll stick around.
Awesome. Well, Coach, thank you again so much. We do look forward to meeting you in person tomorrow night when it's the Brentwood Bears at the Boerne Geneva Eagles. All right, everybody, that is going to do it for yet another episode of the Hill Country Nation Sports Wrap-Up Show. We thank you so much for tuning in every time we come on the air. We're going to be off tomorrow because we got the game of the week. Brentwood Bears at the Boerne Geneva Eagles. And Friday, we may have a game. If not, Trey's going to probably do Tigers. He knows it doesn't matter, but we'll wear the other. We'll be back on Monday night. The whole new Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of coaches and culture. We're still trying to get Coach Timlin over in Hondo for sure. We got to get Coach Walski and Sabinal. There's another one that come to mind. So I know y'all are watching. We're coming for you. We coming for you guys. Boerne Geneva, game of the week against the Brentwood Bears. For Trey Collins and Coach Gaston, I'm Jay Alexander. Thank you so long. See you later. And I am